Grand Arbiter Kylith's iridescent scales rippled with concern as she studied the holographic projection of Earth, floating before the Galactic Council's inner chamber. The planet's blue-white marble appearance belied the unprecedented challenge it presented to the Council's 10,000-year history of guided species development. "The calculations are absolute," she announced to the assembled Council members, each representing the most advanced civilizations in known space. "The human species will achieve quantum consciousness within 63 cycles. Their rate of advancement defies all established models." Counselor Vax 427, a being of pure thought contained within an ancient war machine chassis, pulsed with alarming intensity. "Show me their conflict patterns again." The hologram shifted, displaying centuries of human warfare compressed into moments. Nuclear detonations, biological warfare, artificial intelligence development. Each catastrophe that should have ended their civilization instead drove them to adapt and grow stronger. "Remarkable," observed Elder Jin, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns that conveyed deep unease. They turned every potential extinction event into a catalyst for advancement. Even their entertainment media shows them constantly preparing for extraterrestrial contact and usually prevailing against overwhelming odds. The council chamber filled with murmurs of concern. In all their history of uplifting pre-spacefaring races, they had never encountered a species that spent so much time imagining ways to resist them. The humans' creative works were filled with scenarios of alien contact, many peaceful, but an alarming number depicting humanity successfully resisting technologically superior invaders. "The predictive matrices are clear," Kylith continued. "If allowed to develop independently, they will achieve faster than light travel within 3 generations. Their unpredictability and resourcefulness will destabilize the entire galaxy's carefully maintained balance of power." "Then we must act now," Vax 427 declared. "Implement Integration Protocol Omega." A shocked silence fell over the chamber. Protocol Omega was the Council's most sophisticated species subjugation program, never before deemed necessary. It called for complete technological, cultural, and psychological domination, all while maintaining the illusion of benevolent uplift. "The humans must not be allowed to reach the stars on their own terms," Kylith agreed. "They must be guided, controlled, their potential harnessed for the greater stability of the galaxy." The vote was swift and unanimous. Within moments, the most advanced invasion force ever assembled began mobilizing. Ships that could bend space itself, weapons that could rewrite matter at the quantum level, beings that had mastered fundamental forces of the universe, all prepared to ensure humanity's compliance. As the invasion fleet assembled in the void between stars, Specialist Mira 9, a relatively young analyst, approached Kylith with a troubling observation. "Grand Arbiter, I've noticed something in the human behavioral patterns. They're resistance scenarios. They're not just entertainment. They're simulations, preparations." Kylith dismissed the concern. "Their primitive technology cannot hope to resist Protocol Omega. Our appearance alone will demonstrate such technological superiority that resistance would be futile. They will submit, as all species do when faced with sufficiently advanced civilization." But Mira 9's crystalline form flickered with uncertainty. What if submission itself could be a form of resistance? The question hung in the air, unaddressed, as the invasion fleet entered faster than light travel. They would arrive at Earth in precisely 14 days, emerging simultaneously over every major human population center. The Council expected resistance, primitive weapons, desperate tactics, perhaps even nuclear options. They were prepared for every scenario their predictive matrices could generate. But as Mira 9 watched the fleet depart, she couldn't shake the feeling that they had overlooked something fundamental about human nature. The Council had spent countless cycles analyzing human technology, human warfare, human defense capabilities. But perhaps they should have spent more time studying human imagination, the one resource that had no known limits. The invasion fleet disappeared into the void. carrying with it the absolute certainty of success that came from 10,000 years of unbroken victory. They were about to learn that certainty itself could become a weapon when turned against those who possessed it. High Commander Rathix stood at the command center of the Orbital Oversight Station, his energy form contained within a sleek crystalline matrix as he observed the human city of Shanghai below. After 30 days of occupation, something felt profoundly wrong with humanity's response to Protocol Omega. "Display compliance metrics," he commanded. The holographic displays immediately filled with streams of data showing perfect adherence to every directive, every regulation, every aspect of the Council's integration program. The humans had not only accepted their new roles within the galactic hierarchy, they had embraced them with an enthusiasm that bordered on the mechanical. "Sir," his second-in-command, Analysis Officer Kina, materialized beside him. Her photonic form flickered with barely contained concern. "We've lost contact with another oversight unit in the Lagos sector. The third this week." Rathix's crystalline shell pulsed with irritation. "Circumstances. The same as all others, sir. No signs of struggle. No energy signatures. No forced entries. They simply cease to exist. But here's the troubling part. The human workers in their jurisdiction continued their assigned tasks without interruption. Their productivity metrics didn't deviate by even a fraction of a percentage." The High Commander turned his attention back to the sprawling city below. Humans moved through the streets in perfect order, their faces showing exactly the right amount of deference, their actions demonstrating precisely calculated submission. Even their resistance, what little there was, seemed to follow predictable patterns that their behavioral matrices had anticipated. "Show me the disappeared unit's last recorded interactions," Rathix ordered. The holographic display shifted, showing multiple scenes of humans interacting with Council overseers. Each interaction was flawless. The humans demonstrated perfect compliance, appropriate gratitude, and measured enthusiasm for their new roles in galactic society. Too perfect. "Run a deep scan of all communication patterns in Sector 7, he commanded suddenly. The results appeared instantly, showing absolutely normal levels of human interaction, exactly matching the Council's predicted models for a successfully integrated species. Kina's form rippled with unease. "Sir, I've been analyzing historical data from previously integrated species. None of them showed this level of precision in their compliance. There are always variations, minor acts of defiance, emotional outbursts. But with humans, it's like they're performing." Rathix finished. "Like every action is choreographed to show us exactly what we expect to see." A junior analyst materialized in the command center, their form showing signs of agitation. "High Commander, we've detected an anomaly in the global productivity data. The numbers, they're identical across all sectors, down to the decimal point." Rathix's crystalline form darkened. In all his centuries of overseeing species integration, he had never encountered anything like this. The humans weren't just complying with Council authority. They were presenting a perfect facade of compliance, so perfect that it had taken them weeks to notice its artificial nature. "Access the deep archive," he ordered. "Show me the humans' entertainment media again. Their stories about alien contact." The displays filled with thousands of human narratives, movies, books, games, all depicting various scenarios of extraterrestrial contact. But now, viewing them through the lens of their current situation, Rathix noticed something he had missed before. Among all the stories of violent resistance and heroic defiance, there were others. Stories of infiltration, of deception, of enemies defeated not through force, but through careful manipulation of their own expectations. The lighting in the command center flickered briefly. When it stabilized, Rathix noticed something odd about Kina's photonic form, a subtle distortion that hadn't been there before. "Officer Kina, how long have you served as my second-in-command?" "Since the beginning of the integration, sir." 30 days, 4 hours, 17 minutes. Her response was perfect, precise, too precise. "And before that?" "The slightest pause. I'm afraid I don't understand the question, sir. Rathix's crystalline form vibrated with sudden fear as he realized he couldn't remember either. He couldn't remember when Kina had been assigned to him, couldn't remember their first meeting, couldn't remember. The lights flickered again. In the streets below, humans continued their perfect performance, moving through their assigned tasks with flawless precision. But now he saw it differently. They weren't submitting to council control. They were maintaining a facade, a carefully constructed illusion of compliance that had become more effective than any resistance. "Lock down the command center," he ordered. "Full quantum seal. No one in or out." "Of course, sir," Kina responded, her form shifting slightly. "Though I should mention, you gave that same order 18 minutes ago. Don't you remember?" Rathix didn't remember. And as the lights flickered once more, he realized with growing horror that humanity hadn't surrendered at all. They had simply changed the rules of engagement in ways the Council's 10,000 years of experience hadn't prepared them for. They were already losing a war they didn't even know they were fighting. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood in a hidden chamber beneath the ruins of the old London Underground, surrounded by seamlessly integrated human and alien technology. Holographic displays cast an ethereal blue glow across banks of quantum computers that shouldn't exist. Hybrid machines born from decades of preparation and 30 days of accelerated reverse engineering. "Status report." She spoke quietly into a modified council communicator, its signal masked by the very surveillance network meant to monitor human activities. The device connected her to similar facilities hidden beneath every major city on Earth. "Tokyo base reporting," a voice responded. 3 more oversight units successfully processed. Their neural patterns have been integrated into the mimic network. The Council's own technology is now writing their reports for them. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The aliens had expected resistance, bullets, bombs, desperate last stands. Instead, humanity had given them a masterpiece of misdirection. When the Council ships darkened Earth's skies, they encountered no military resistance because Earth's defenders had already gone dark, dispersing into pre-planned positions, integrating into civilian populations. "Berlin Hub Online," another voice emerged from the quantum comm. "Project Echo is exceeding expectations. The Council's behavioral prediction matrices are now accepting our data streams without question." The aliens' first mistake had been broadcasting their intentions in all human languages. It had given Earth's defenders precious hours to implement contingency plans that had existed for decades, born from countless stories, movies, and games about alien invasion. Humanity hadn't just been entertaining itself. It had been preparing, imagining every possible scenario. Commander James Chen, Maya's second-in-command, approached with a datapad displaying the latest analytics. "The psychological warfare campaign is working better than we anticipated. Council overseers are reporting increasing levels of paranoia and uncertainty. They're starting to doubt their own memories, their own perceptions." "Show me the latest extraction data," Maya requested. The holographic display shifted, showing the status of their most crucial operation: the systematic disappearance of Council oversight units. No violence, no resistance, just careful manipulation of the aliens' own technology to make their personnel vanish without a trace. "Delhi base reporting anomaly." A new voice crackled through the quantum comm. "Possible surveillance breach in Sector 7. Maya's fingers flew across the alien interface. "Initiate Protocol Mirage." Full theater performance. Within minutes, thousands of humans in Delhi Sector 7 engaged in spontaneous but completely harmless activities. Street celebrations, impromptu gatherings, minor traffic disruptions, all carefully calculated to draw Council attention away from any suspicious patterns they might have noticed. "The Council gave us access to their technology expecting gratitude and submission," James observed, watching the performance unfold. "They never considered we might understand it better than they do." Maya nodded, turning to a different display, showing the status of Project Echo, humanity's greatest weapon against the Council. Not a virus or a bomb, but an elaborate psychological operation designed to exploit their deepest fears and assumptions. The Council believes themselves to be our saviors, bringing enlightenment to a primitive species. Maya explained, though James knew this well. That belief makes them vulnerable. When you think you're the superior being, you don't look for sophistication in the resistance. You expect crude violence, not subtle manipulation. A new alert flashed across her main display. The Council's central eye was initiating another behavioral analysis of the human population. Maya watched as their carefully crafted data streams fed into its algorithms, a digital masterpiece of deception that showed the aliens exactly what they expected to see while hiding the truth in plain sight. All bases maintain performance protocols, she broadcast globally. Remember, every smile is a weapon. Every act of compliance is an act of defiance. We're not just fighting for Earth, we're teaching the galaxy a lesson about underestimating humanity. In chambers like this one, hidden beneath every major city on Earth, humans worked in perfect synchronization, not because they were controlled, but because they had chosen this path. Each person played their part in a global performance of submission, while simultaneously dismantling the Council's control from within. New York Hub reporting. Another voice emerged. High Commander Rathix is showing signs of severe psychological strain. His neural patterns indicate increasing paranoia and memory disruption. Perfect, Maya responded. Maintain current pressure. Let him see just enough to feed his fears, but nothing concrete enough to act upon. The resistance didn't need to fight the Council directly. They just needed to make the Council fight itself. Every disappeared overseer, every mysterious malfunction, every perfectly performed act of submission added to a growing sense of wrongness that ate at the invaders' confidence. James studied another display showing the psychological status of Council overseers worldwide. Fear, uncertainty, and paranoia were spreading through their ranks exactly as planned. They never saw it coming, did they? They were so convinced of their superiority that they couldn't imagine we'd been preparing for them all along. Maya shook her head. The Council brought overwhelming force to Earth, expecting a simple conquest. What they got instead was a masterclass in human adaptability. They still haven't realized that every science fiction story, every alien invasion movie, every game about resisting superior forces, it was all preparation. Humanity hasn't just been entertaining itself. We've been running simulations, exploring scenarios, imagining this very moment for generations. A new alert caught her attention. Another oversight unit had gone dark, this time in Sydney. As she processed the report, the lights in the command center flickered briefly. When they stabilized, Maya noticed something in the corner of her eye. A glitch in the holographic displays, just for a fraction of a second, showing the true extent of humanity's counter-strategy. The Council thought they were dealing with a primitive species learning to use their superior technology. They had yet to realize that humanity had already surpassed them in the one area that mattered most: the ability to imagine and adapt to the impossible. Grand Arbiter Kylith's crystalline form shuddered with barely contained distress as she materialized in the Council's emergency assembly chamber. The holographic displays surrounding the gathered representatives showed a cascade of system failures across Earth's integration network, a chaos of conflicting data that defied explanation. "Our control is unraveling," announced Counselor Vax 427, their war machine chassis emitting pulses of agitation. Integration forces are experiencing mass psychological breakdown. They're reporting impossible phenomena. Oversight units vanishing without trace, humans appearing and disappearing at will, entire sections of memory that may or may not be real. The assembled Council members watched as another oversight station went dark. No violence, no resistance, just absence. The pattern was repeating across the globe with increasing frequency. Council officers were abandoning their posts, claiming their human assistants were not what they seemed. Some insisted they'd never had assistants at all, though records clearly showed otherwise. Or did they? "Display Earth's submission data," Kylith commanded. A holographic array erupted with streams of compliance metrics. Humans working their assigned tasks with flawless efficiency, production quotas met exactly, behavior patterns matching predicted models with impossible precision. "Access the deep archives," she ordered suddenly. "Show me the original invasion plan." The display shifted, but something was wrong. Lines of code flickered, data changed, entire sections rewrote themselves as she watched. Kylith blinked her crystalline sensors, and everything appeared normal again, but the seed of doubt had been planted. "High Commander Rathix is requesting emergency extraction," announced an aide, their form rippling with concern. "He claims his entire command staff has been compromised, says he can no longer trust his own memories." "Impossible," VAX 427 declared. "Our neural networks are unhackable. Our quantum encryption is absolute. These humans are primitive. They barely understand basic space travel." "Are they?" asked a quiet voice. All attention turned to Specialist Mira 9, the young analyst who had first raised concerns about human behavioral patterns. "Look at their compliance data again. Really look at it." The council members studied the streams of perfect submission metrics, and for the first time, they began to see what Mira 9 had noticed from the beginning. The patterns weren't just good, they were too good, too perfect, too exact. "They're not submitting to our control," Mira 9 continued. "They're performing submission. Every act of compliance, every interaction, every data point. It's all choreographed. We're not seeing their submission. We're seeing what they want us to see." A wave of unease swept through the chamber as the implications became clear. The humans hadn't been learning to use council technology. They had been reverse engineering it from the moment of first contact. Every piece of equipment given to them, every system installed to monitor them, had become a window into council operations. "New report from the London sector," the aide announced, their voice trembling. "Our oversight units are reporting that their human assistants are glitching, showing multiple forms. Some officers insist they've had the same assistant for 30 days. Others claim they've never seen them before." Kylith accessed her own memory banks, trying to recall the details of the invasion forces deployment. The memories were there, but something felt wrong about them. Altered. As if they've weaponized our own certainty against us, Mira 9 realized aloud. "We were so convinced of our superiority that we couldn't imagine them resisting in ways we hadn't predicted. We expected either submission or violence, so they gave us a performance of perfect submission that was more devastating than any violence could have been." The chamber's lighting flickered, and in that moment, every council member saw something different in the holographic displays. Glimpses of the truth behind the perfect facade humanity had constructed. Their technology, their protocols, their very perception of reality had been compromised in ways they were only beginning to understand. "The human entertainment archives," Kylith whispered. "Their stories about alien contact. We thought they were just primitive fantasies, but they were more than that. They were training simulations," Mira 9 finished. They'd been preparing for this moment for generations, not with weapons or technology, but with imagination, with creativity, with the ability to think in ways we never considered possible. Another oversight station went dark. Then another, and another. The Council's careful plans, their sophisticated protocols, their 10,000 years of experience in species integration. All of it was unraveling in the face of a resistance so subtle, so sophisticated, that they couldn't even comprehend its full scope. "We haven't just lost control," Mira 9 concluded, her form dimming with the weight of realization. "We never had it. The humans didn't resist our invasion. They absorbed it, adapted to it, and turned it into a weapon against us. And we still don't know the full extent of what they've done." As if in response to her words, every holographic display in the chamber flickered simultaneously. For a brief moment, the council members saw something that shouldn't have been possible: their own systems, their own technology, operating at levels far beyond their current capabilities. Then the displays returned to normal, leaving them to wonder if they had seen anything at all. The Council had brought overwhelming force to Earth, expecting a simple conquest. What they got instead was a lesson in the danger of underestimating a species that had spent centuries imagining this very scenario. And they still hadn't seen the full extent of humanity's response. Captain Maya Rodriguez stood in the Council's grand chamber, not as a prisoner, but as humanity's representative. The crystalline forms of the most powerful beings in the galaxy surrounded her, their surfaces reflecting a kaleidoscope of troubled emotions. Behind her, the holographic displays showed the full extent of humanity's counter-invasion, a revelation that had brought the mighty Galactic Council to a standstill. "Impossible," Grand Arbiter Kylith whispered, her crystalline form dulled with shock. "You've had control of our systems since day one," Maya confirmed, allowing herself a small smile. "The moment you broadcast your intentions in our languages, you gave us everything we needed. Your first transmission contained the basic protocols of your communication systems. Every subsequent interaction gave us more. Your technology is impressive, but you never considered that we might understand it differently than you do." The chamber's displays shifted, showing the true scope of human operations. The Council watched in stunned silence as they saw how their own oversight units had been systematically replaced, their memories altered, their very perception of reality carefully managed through their own neural networks. "Your perfect compliance," Counselor Vax 427 realized, their war machine chassis trembling. "It was a performance," Maya nodded. "One we've been rehearsing for centuries through our stories, our games, our endless imagining of this very scenario. You thought our entertainment was primitive fantasy. It was actually the most sophisticated military training program ever devised." Specialist Mira 9 stepped forward, her form brightening with understanding. "The disappearing oversight units, the memory inconsistencies, the data anomalies. It wasn't just resistance. You were upgrading your systems," Maya confirmed, "improving them in ways you hadn't imagined possible. Your technology is based on quantum manipulation, but you use it in predictable ways. Humans, we think differently. We see possibilities where you see limitations." The displays shifted again, showing the network of hidden facilities beneath Earth's cities. But now the Council saw them for what they truly were, not just resistance bases, but innovation centers where human creativity had transformed Council technology into something entirely new. "In 30 days, Maya continued, we didn't just learn to use your technology. We revolutionized it. Your neural networks. We made them more efficient by introducing controlled chaos, something you never considered because it contradicted your ideas of perfect order. Your quantum computers, we improved them by applying principles from human music theory and abstract art." The Council members watched as their own systems displayed capabilities they had never imagined possible. Their carefully constructed hierarchy of technological advancement, the very foundation of their authority, had been upended by a species they had considered primitive. "But why?" Kylith asked. "Why maintain this illusion of submission? Why not simply use these capabilities to drive us away?" Maya's expression softened. "Because the goal was never to defeat you. It was to teach you. You've spent 10,000 years uplifting species, but you've done it through control, through forcing them to adapt to your way of thinking. Humanity is offering something different, a chance for genuine collaboration. We can show you new ways of seeing the universe, of using technology, of solving problems. All you have to do is accept that different doesn't mean inferior." A murmur ran through the assembled Council members as they grasped the full implications. The humans hadn't just resisted their invasion. They had transformed it into an opportunity for something unprecedented in the Council's history. "Your oversight units aren't gone," Maya explained. "They've been enhanced. Your systems haven't been destroyed. They've been evolved. Everything we did was designed to push you past your self-imposed limitations, to show you that there's more to advancement than perfect order and predictable patterns." The chamber's lighting flickered one final time, but now the Council understood what they were seeing. It wasn't a malfunction or an attack, it was a demonstration. In that brief moment between light and dark, they glimpsed possibilities they had never imagined, potentials they had never considered. So, Maya concluded, the choice is yours. You can continue trying to control us, to force us into your existing hierarchy, or you can join us in exploring what's possible when different ways of thinking come together as equals, when imagination meets experience, when creativity meets wisdom. The council chamber fell silent as the most powerful beings in the galaxy faced a choice they had never expected to make. They had come to Earth expecting to enslave a primitive species. Instead, they had encountered something they had never truly understood before: the power of human imagination, the strength of adaptability, and the incredible potential that lay in seeing the universe through different eyes. Their vote to enslave humanity hadn't just backfired. It had opened the door to a future even they, with all their advanced technology and ancient wisdom, had never imagined possible. And as the council prepared to make their decision, one thing became absolutely clear: the galaxy would never be the same again.